Welcome to A Spotlight On. We are continuing the conversation with Igor and a spotlight on the experiences of young people living with HIV across the world. Thank you, Igor, so much for joining us.
Thank you for your invitation.
So, Igor is based in Russia and he is the chair of the Global Network of Young People Living with HIV, also known as Y Plus Global, which is the only international network that is led by and for young people living with HIV across the world. And celebration, he recently graduated from medical school. So we're talking to Igor MD, Dr. Igor. So thank you so much for joining us. Can you please just share a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, just in a certain couple of words, literally, I've just graduated, so I'm quite a happy person that found an employment very soon afterward, which is also cool. I think that another thing that is really important in the spotlight of our conversation to share is that I'm at the age of 23, have been living with HIV for 4 years now. And I think that me disclosing some of my life and experience could really help other people and other young people get encouraged to deliver what they want to do in their lives, no matter what their status is.
That's fantastic. And you are very inspirational. You've done a lot of amazing work already. And I know that you'll go on to shine as well in whatever you go on to do. And well done for getting employment so quickly, because it can be tough sometimes after graduation. So well done. Now tell me, so you mentioned about, using your voice to empower and inspire other people. What is it like to be a young person living in Russia, living in your region of the world?
Well, I think that this is one of those conversations where you really emphasize what happens with a lot of young gay guys in Russia is you live in a bubble of safety that you create for yourself. So it's basically a bubble is not obviously it's a metaphor. So it's people that surround you. You basically have to handpick who you are convinced are going to accept you. So this is about creating an environment for yourself. This is one of those very tough things that you have to go through because it's always, trying to acknowledge that if a friend doesn't, doesn't accept you, you'll have to choose between your life and the closet. And the same is with the HIV status. So literally it starts there. But then for me, it's been one of the greatest experience as I'm a medical person in emphasizing my share of voice towards young doctors who are more likely to, just accept the information I can give them besides the medical insights, but also as a patient, just to bring some of those feelings and emotions to the stage, to have a good discussion around what's there in the life besides your status, which really bothers you maybe.
That's such a great point, and it's really cool that you're able to, what it's like to be the patient, visit the doctor, and also to be the doctor as you're embarking in your career. I wanted to ask you, actually, do you have any tips for young people who maybe want to have more of a conversation with the doctors that look and the nurses that look after their HIV care, and how they can maybe have some of those conversations?
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's quite a complicated topic. A lot of times you wouldn't feel comfortable with your doctor or with what we like to say now is your medical team, because it's literally not one person any longer. I think that the first thing you have to do is you have to know that you always have the right to choose the doctor you go to in most countries. I think in the UK it's the same. So you literally take your freedom about this situation. And if you don't feel comfortable about the doctor that that you're seeing right now, it's okay to handpick another doctor. So choose a doctor you're likely to trust, and then to start a conversation which you might not be as comfortable as is one tip I always tell everybody whom I consult anytime as a peer consultant is, when you're at home and you feel comfortable and very convinced that you want to ask this question, believe me, when you come to the doctor, you'll be nervous, you'll forget the question, you'll be shy to ask it. Just take a piece of paper or your notes in your phone and just write down the question you want to ask, so that you can start from there. And obviously, why it's also good to do this in handwriting is, when you go to the doctor and you keep this piece of paper in your hand, it's also kind of encouraging the doctor to ask, is there any other thing you have maybe prepared to ask? So actually preparing for the doctor is also very, very, very kind of a good practice.
That's really great. I really like those points in terms of seeing who it is in your medical care team. And it's really important that you made the point that it's a team of people and not one person that you might be able to talk to, and preparing before each appointment, especially because there are many people in the UK where they might not see their doctor for a few months, maybe 3 to 6 months. So like you've said, actually, I'm at home, I think of a question I want to ask, but maybe I won't see my doctor for another month. But if I write it down somewhere on a list of things to ask my doctor, then it can be really
Exactly.
helpful. Yeah, great. Thank you so much. That's a really useful tip. Um, I just wanted to know, how has your journey been, being a young person living with HIV and being open about your status?
Well, first of all, there is another point of me as a gay person in Russia. I have to be quite careful about communicating, my sexuality to anybody outside of this bubble of people I trust. So I think that the journey is more about that I don't disclose my status to everybody, because it's not really everybody's concern, but it's also at the point of where you come uncomfortable. For instance, you travel with your friends and you're just uncomfortable about hiding the fact that you need to take some medication, and people always ask questions. You have to come with terms with yourself and just decide to come out. Always remember that people will be asking you very frustrating questions. You also need to remember that you have the right to say that you don't really want to answer that personal question. It's your right. And if it's a true friend of yours that you want to disclose your status to, it's going to be okay. But if you go to some public speaking, this is the thing that is more stressful. You will find your comfort zone at some point of time. But to start, you will always be frustrated with this feeling like you're passing an exam. Definitely. And you just have to remember that when you're speaking with people about your status openly, they really want to hear your story, not about HIV. They want to hear your personal emotions and what you've gone through, what's been your denial status, etc. Everybody goes for some form of that, and it's always about remembering that you need to tell your personal things, not scientific scientific data that's up to medical professionals. Just don't dig there.
That's really useful advice, I think, for people who might be thinking about being open in a more public way. I think especially what you were saying about not feeling like you have to say everything, and just because I'm open about my HIV status as well, and I completely agree with you in terms of, it doesn't mean you need to know every detail just because you know this detail. But what you were saying about the realities of how we're asked about our stories, and in conferences and public spaces like that, it's true. I empathize definitely. um Thank you so much. So I have a final question for you. So the every year at camp there is a theme, and the theme this year is superheroes. So I wanted to know, who is a superhero to you and why?
Wow, that is tough. I might have several. First of all, Bakita, my predecessor, is a superhero in the championship of voice, because Bakita's voice is really amazing and speaking. But there is something else I would like to say who a superhero to you could be. To me, my superhero has recently been a boss at my internship, because I literally have seen that a person at her age, she's also struggling with some health issues and etc. But she's super empowering as a individual who can manage everything without being, aggressive or being over bossy. So she's literally providing everybody a space to grow. So to me, superhero is really a person that's next to you and who's encouraging you to do better.
Love that. Thank you very much. And she sounds ace. And thank you for the shout out. I wasn't expecting it. But your boss
Well,
sounds ace at the internship.
yeah, you deserve the shout out.
Thank you, Igor. That's it from me. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you joining us and sharing your wisdom, and just us being able to get an understanding of different perspectives from young people across the world.
And thank you for inviting.